back to Cherries on Top, and don't forget, we're taking it all the way to the top. Thank you guys so much for returning back for another video. Before we get into the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to turn on that post notification bell so you're the first one notified as soon as we drop a new video. Let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into it. So before we get into this video, today this video is sponsored by the Cherries TV. The Cherries TV was kind enough to send me this Good Girl fragrance by Carolina Herrera. So if you need the perfect fragrance for the perfect occasion, or if you just simply need an everyday fragrance, tune into the Cherries TV. They literally have a fragrance for every season, a fragrance for every day, every minute, every second. So thank you guys once again for sponsoring this video, and make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that post notification bell so you're the first person notified whenever they drop a new video. Let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into this video. So today I'm going to be dropping a couple gems on what you should know the night before you take your NCLEX. So for myself, I kind of broke a little bit of those rules that I am going to be telling you guys, and I'm saying that simply because I want you guys to improve and to not be like myself. To begin, I did mention in my last video that I don't believe that you guys should cram information, especially the night before a test or exam, but especially the night before your NCLEX, because if you think about it, you're trying to basically cram in 2 years of information that you learned for one exam. Yes, that exam counts a lot, but there's no way it's not possible. So one thing I did was I studied for about 5 or 6 hours the day before NCLEX. Would I recommend that? Absolutely not at all. But for myself, it was one of those things that was kind of soothing for me, because I found myself kind of uneasy when I was not keeping myself busy looking at content. So the moment I would stop, that's when the anxiety would kind of come on, and that's when I would think about it, and that's when I would think about certain topics that I felt like I wasn't strong enough in. So it was kind of like a distraction for me. So I pretty much studied for about 5 or 6 hours. I didn't do it all together, but I did it in intervals. So I probably studied for like 2 hours in the morning, took a break, 2 hours in the evening, and then 2 hours at night. However, like I said, I wouldn't recommend that, because for some people it can be way too much, and it kind of was a little too much for myself. But I would recommend probably studying for like an hour, or just listening, like I said in my previous video, to Mark K's audios. So another thing that you guys should know before you take your NCLEX, and this is where I really messed up: go to the testing site prior to you taking your exam. Now, I know you guys are probably going to judge me, but I did do that. I went ahead and I looked at the location and everything, I want to say 2 days before I took my NCLEX. So the day of my NCLEX, and this is another part that really, like, it literally threw me off completely. Just before I walked out of the door, I wanted to make sure that I had the correct location and everything. So they kind of send you like an email, like a confirmation email, the night before, the day before, something like that, with the address and time and everything. So I woke up around 7 a.m. I want to say. It took me about an hour to get ready, and as I'm heading out the door, I was under the impression that my NCLEX was at 8:30. The testing site was probably 20 minutes away from my house, and I wanted to stop for breakfast, but looking at the time, I noticed like I probably wasn't gonna have time, and I want to say it was around 8 o'clock. So I decided to look at the email, even though I think I had the address already saved in my GPS, but I still wanted to look just to make sure. And when I looked, it said 8 o'clock. And mind you guys, I'm still at home while I'm looking at this email, so I'm freaking out because I didn't have time to eat, and I already kind of know I wasn't gonna have time to eat, but I don't really eat when I'm stressed out, so that wasn't a big deal. So I rushed over to the place. Now, with me being so anxious, I ended up putting in the wrong address. so I put the numbers in incorrectly. So for example, if it was like 11:25, whatever, I put 11:26. So I was just going around and around in circles probably for a good 10-15 minutes, and I'm like, this place looks so familiar, but I came here like 2 days before, so I wasn't 100% sure, and I'm like, why can't I find it? So as I'm running around for 10 minutes trying to find it, I'm like, let me go back into the email. I noticed that the address is wrong. So finally when I put it in, it brings me directly to the place. I rush inside, and it's kind of like a process. You know, they lock up your phone and do all these other things and all that other stuff, but thank God they still let me test. So by the time I got in there, it was like 8:50, if not 9 o'clock, and my test was at 8. So imagine, I already had the anxiety of me having to take my exam that day, and then being lost at that kind of put more of a fear in myself. So it made me anxious, thinking like, oh my gosh, are they gonna let me test or whatever it was. So when I got in, they let me test per usual. Everything was fine. Now going back to me not being able to eat, I don't recommend that you guys not have breakfast. Me, when I'm under pressure, I'm not really hungry and I can't eat, but as soon as I was done with the test, I went in at like 9. I want to say I probably started around 9:15, 9:30, because it is a process, like I said, and I didn't finish and walk out of there until about 1 o'clock. And mind you, like I said, I wasn't hungry. Even though they gave me a break, I was too anxious, and I kind of wanted to get it all the way over and done with. So I decided not to eat, and yeah, I decided not to eat. And I mean, I was fine, but like I said, I wouldn't recommend it, because some people, you kind of need that nutrients or that boost of energy or whatever it is when it comes to you, especially sitting down for like 4 hours, especially if you're utilizing all of the time that they gave you. So one thing for sure, make sure you look at the location prior, but make sure that you input, I would say save it in your GPS or something like that, because the day of, you're going to run into so many different problems, and your nerves are going to get the best of you, and you're going to start doing things that you probably wouldn't have done on a regular day. On a regular day, I would have gotten the address right, and I would have gotten the time that I was taking my NCLEX right. So I don't know, it was just my nerves that kind of got in the way. Another thing that I would recommend that you guys do, and this is like a major key: know, believe, and tell yourself that you are a nurse. I wore my scrubs and I wore my white coat when I walked into that testing room, being that I was telling myself that this is the last time I'm stepping my foot in this room. I told myself that you're going to be a nurse, that you are a nurse, that I'm just sitting to take this exam just because. But you putting on that uniform, you putting on that coat is like a reminder, because you're gonna get those hard questions during the test that's gonna throw you off and that's gonna make you doubt yourself. But when you're sitting comfortably and it's like you're thinking about you being a nurse, you're thinking about all that you've been through throughout nursing school, it's like it gives you a motivation. It just gives you a like some confidence, like, you know what, I know I got this, I know I'm a nurse. It's like constantly remind yourself. So I wore my scrubs. I noticed that no one else had their scrubs on in the testing room, but I didn't care. I'm like, these people probably think I'm weird, but at the end of the day, you're here to pass your test. That's all that matters. So do have some type of reminder of something that reminds you or that kind of pushes you to succeed when it comes to taking your test. You can't really bring anything else with you. You can't bring a water bottle, you can't bring anything in there. So for myself, me wearing my coat, I even woke up, did my makeup, did my hair nicely, like it just gives you a push. At least for myself, it gives me a push and just reminding me like, hey, look, I'm already a nurse and there's no way I'm going to fail. There's no way. Like, you have to tell yourself that you are a nurse, you're not going to fail, that you have already succeeded, that you, in matter of fact, the crazy thing is, the day before, 2 days before, I already started applying for jobs. So you have to activate your faith. So apply for those jobs. Start looking at the hospitals. Start looking at the specific places that you want to work in as a nurse, because that's going to give you the motivation. Sometimes it's us just not being confident enough in ourselves. We know the content, we know we go through nursing school. You guys are too beautiful, you guys are too smart, too handsome to go all the way through nursing school and to be stuck on a test because you're not confident enough in yourself. You know the information, you can and you will and you must do this. Those are pretty much some of the small things that I did or that you should know the night before taking your NCLEX. Make sure you go to that testing site and you write down that address. You know exactly what time you're taking your NCLEX. If you're taking it at 8 o'clock, make sure you set it in your alarm or in your notes that you're taking it at 7:30. So even if you're in my predicament, that you're still ending up being there on time. Also, make sure that you do have that one reminder that kind of gives you that push or that motivation that you're already a nurse. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you made it all the way to the end of the video, make sure you spam the comments with blue hearts. Thank you guys once again, and don't forget, we're taking it all the way to the top.